breaking down Lubbock high sports. This is the Westerner Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score and the 100.7 The Score mobile app.
Welcome into the High School Fan Zone on a Wednesday night. I think Choice mentioned this on Monday. This is the last show of this school year. We'll take a little break, be back in late August. I'll have the football schedule. I may call that up and just kind of tease that a little bit. We've been going since late August of this last year, so it's been a fun year. We're going to wrap it up with some new faces, semi-new faces. One new face for sure when we jump into the Westerner Fan Zone here in a minute, and then we'll finish up with Coronado, Friendship, and Lubbock Cooper. The other new faces have been around, just in new spots. But let me introduce new Lubbock High girls golf coach, Brooke Nolte, who is so new. We were just talking. You've said you've met a few of your players.
I have.
You went to their banquet. You've got a connection to Texas Tech here, though, so we'll talk a little bit about that. And before we jump in, we are down to one team that's still alive playing right now. This is graduation week for a lot of people, and I'll have something to say about that at the end of the show because I, from firsthand experience, know that Lubbock High graduates on Saturday. LISD schools get going, I believe, on Thursday. But the one team still alive is Liberty Baseball. They are in the regional championship round for the first time in school history. They're playing in the fourth round for the second time in 3 years. They play Brock. Best 2 out of 3 series, 6 p.m. Friday at Crutcher Scott Field in Abilene, and then again at noon Saturday with a third game to follow. Liberty has had a great season. They are a little bit of an underdog this week. Brock is ranked number 3 in the state. That's the team that beat them 2 years ago in the fourth round, but talked to a couple of the Patriots today, and they're fired up about being the underdog. So we'll jump right into the Western Fan Zone now. And Brooke, got a little bit of background from you sitting in there. Let's talk about first your connection to Texas Tech. We were just talking about all the people that wind up coming back here. You spent a year here golfing or just finishing up school?
I finished up school. My parents went to school here. They've had season football tickets for over 20 years. Grew up coming to games out here every weekend.
From Melissa, Texas.
From Melissa, Texas.
That's not I just actually drove to Arlington and back earlier this week. It's not a bad drive, but it's also, it takes a while to get here. So there must be a connection. Did your parents both go here?
They did.
Okay. So there's a reason that Lubbock and a job in Lubbock appealed to you. Tell me how it worked out with Lubbock High. How did you kind of connect with them?
I've been a teacher for 5 years in elementary, and this year I've been in middle school.
Okay.
And I've always wanted to coach golf as well as teach and help kids grow in both areas, academically and athletically. So I was just looking, and I saw the job opportunity, and I was like, okay, I'm going to go for it and see what happens. And I got the job, and I'm really excited to be both boys and girls coach.
Oh, boys and girls. Okay.
Boys and
All
girls.
Right. When Juan Rodriguez sent me, he said girls coach, so first of all, I'm sure you've learned a little bit about its history. Lubbock High's got some history in golf. We were just talking back there. Lubbock High's, there's some sports that they haven't done as well in. Now, historically they have, but because of the academic setting, it's a little bit of a challenge at times. But golf has been one that they've had some success in. And the reason Brooke wants to coach golf is because you were a college golfer. Kind of run me through your resume there as a college golfer.
Well, I started out at Colorado State. I loved it. Had a lot of fun, a lot of travel, places I've never gotten to go if I wouldn't have gone to school there. Then I transferred to University of Texas, San Antonio. We won a conference championship there. It was a lot of fun. And then I took a year off, finished school at Texas Tech, and then I grad transferred and played my final year and got my master's degree at Kansas State.
Which I've forgiven you for. I'm just kidding. I've told Cub Patton and Hutchison that I've forgiven them for wearing purple. And I know Cub is back in this area. I don't know if Hut is or not. Listen, if you're going to play college sports, you're playing in the Big 12 anywhere, you're getting it done right because now I covered the SEC as well, but the Big 12 is kind of proven what they can do. you must have been pretty good if people wanted you to keep showing up and swinging the golf clubs. Brag about yourself a little bit. What was your success in college?
In college, well, I won the conference championship. I helped the team. We were behind going into the last day, and I shot the low round of 69 and got us to win that championship. Just consistently making the top 5, going to tournaments. I averaged about 75. We won a few tournaments as a team in college. Also had a lot of success in high school. I won district all 4 years for Melissa, regional all 4 years for Melissa, and I lost in a state playoff my senior year.
Back then, Melissa was 4A?
They were. Our competition was Andrews.
Okay, which is still the case. In fact, some of your competition, well, you'll be 5A. Liberty, Lubbock Cooper Liberty here just won the boys state championship and had to hold off Andrews on the final day. I believe the Andrews girls did win. So you're going to be familiar with a lot of those teams. You're going to be in 5A, which I think I've looked at realignment in a lot of different sports, and I think golf will be the same thing. And I don't know how you may know this. We may talk about this between segments here. You're in a 10-team district in most sports, and I think that's the case in golf. So there's going to be a lot of familiar faces, Amarillo schools, the Lubbock schools. I try to think if that's I think that will be the district. So we'll talk about that. So kind of help each other get some background. You, mom and dad, you said that you're not going to be living out here very long by yourself.
No, my mom and dad, they bought a house and they're going to retire out here at the end of the summer. So they don't have to make the drive anymore for football.
There we go. So those season tickets will really come in handy, especially right now. If you've got a connection at Texas Tech, you know this is a pretty good time to be a fan. So we're coming up on our first break. We're going to talk more Lubbock High golf and kind of have Brooke explain what her philosophy is with high school kids. Now she's jumping in as a coach for the first time. First time coach, correct?
Correct.
There we go. We'll talk about what she wants from her boys and girls. And the golf season's like never ending. You probably will have kids out there doing stuff this summer. When we come back, we'll talk more about that, and I will jump into a little bit of results that got us to this point. Liberty is the only team alive, but there were a lot of teams still playing last week. Season just ended, so we'll talk about that and kind of peek ahead a little bit at what's coming up early in the fall. I'll touch on the football schedule like I mentioned when we come back. This is the Westerner Fan Zone on the high school Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score and Fox 34 News Now.
Bringing you the latest news from Lubbock High Athletics. This is the Westerner Fan Zone podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Welcome back in. This is the high school Fan Zone. I actually got to talking about Brooke, and we didn't even ask, so I'll see if you know here on the air. Have they told you, does your district include all of the Amarillo teams and the Lubbock teams? Do you play them head-to-head during the season?
I believe so. I've been looking at tournaments actually today and contacting coaches, and there are some in Amarillo.
And what's cool about playing and coaching golf out here is that you'll find this out quickly. The climate's a little bit different for golf out here than just about anywhere. Now, the places you've been, I would imagine you've played on some pretty unique courses, being at UTSA and K-State and Colorado State. The golf courses here are popular with folks out here. A lot of times teams come out for regionals. They're not real pumped up because just depending on what the wind's like,
right,
your kids are going to know how to play it. Whereas especially kids coming from the Metroplex are like, what is this? How are we supposed to play in this? So you get to first-time coach, you kind of get to have that built-in home course advantage, I guess.
It definitely is an advantage out here. Once the kids, they adapt learning playing in the wind out here, growing up playing in the wind, and then kids come from all areas, and you're right. It is an advantage.
I guess in Melissa you had to deal with heat.
A little bit of heat.
Yes. Have you played any of the courses here yourself?
I've played the Rawls,
okay,
and I've played Lake Ridge.
Okay, and I think, unless it's changed a whole lot, I think the district meet is at Lake Ridge. Maybe the regional is at one of the other ones. There's new courses popping up out here as well. There's one right over by Liberty High School, like literally you can look out your window and there's
Red Feather.
Yeah. And I believe there's another one opening up, and I was teasing the Liberty folks about this. I think the new one's opening out towards Lubbock Cooper, and I think what they're hoping is that maybe some people will move out to that part because a new school opens. So one school shrunk a little bit, one's grown. So Melissa is a standalone high school, right? I'm married to a girl from Plainview. It's a one-school town, correct?
It is, but it's growing fast.
Yes, it's growing fast. A former football coach here is at Anna, is that the same neighborhood?
It's about 10 minutes away, if that. It's right next door.
In the Metroplex, if you can get somewhere in 10 minutes, you're accomplishing something. And when we were talking, I mentioned that former Lubbock High baseball coach, I just went blank on his name, is Melissa. Melissa's a powerhouse in baseball and softball. I believe they're one of like 5 teams in the state that's still alive in both in the regional championship round.
Oh, really? It's been a long time it's been 10 years since I went to high school, and the high school I went to is now the middle school.
Oh, wow.
And we graduated with 100 kids in my class. And now when I go back, there's a 4-story high school. The baseball complex, it is really impressive.
Yes.
And the football stadium.
And a town like that, I would imagine there's a lot of pride, which you're stepping into a school with a lot of pride. When you interviewed at Lubbock High and kind of toured the halls, I went to high school that looks very similar to Lubbock High. What struck you about walking through those halls where all that history's been made?
It's just incredible. I mean, it's such a beautiful school, and it's so amazing how they've kept it in the shape they have.
It's like going back in time.
It is, and I think it's wonderful. I'm really excited to be there and be a part of that.
One of my favorite things when I go to events, that'll be at the end of the show, where Dad, whose daughter is graduating, will try to get through it without getting emotional, is you get to see the Buddy Holly display, and then E.J. Hollum. It's just cool that they haven't forgotten their history. When you interviewed for the job, who did you sit down and talk to about the job when you got here?
Several people. Coach Rod, Coach Leisman,
okay,
Lindsay Lucas on the academic side, and another English teacher.
What are you going to teach? Because you've taught elementary and middle school. What are you going to teach at Lubbock High?
I'll be teaching English 4.
Okay,
so British literature.
There you jump in. I'm not trying to scare you off, I promise, but I would think teaching at Lubbock High, that's a challenge because you're going to be teaching kids that are there. Well, most of them are there because they're really smart kids. And I will say that as a proud dad that my daughter did very well in high school. So you're stepping into a pretty cool situation. You said you've met a few of your players. When do you hope to kind of meet all of them and kind of start getting acclimated to each other?
I went to their end of the year banquet and I met the parents and the kids, and I've been working with the parents pretty closely. We're working on getting sponsors and things like that to help buy what the kids need. And so I've been building the relationships with them already, and everyone seems so great and so welcoming.
As I said, there's some history and tradition with Lubbock High Golf. We're coming up to the end of the segment. Just real quick, got 10 seconds. What's your expectation for your players right off the bat?
Growth. I just want to make relationships, grow, and have a winning mentality because I want to win as well.
There we go. Brooke Nolte, the new Lubbock High golf coach, will be back after this break in the High School Fan Zone and the Mustang Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score.